Two friends left their village with the same dream. But only one of them made it. When money entered the picture, loyalty was tested. And betrayal changed everything. Chuka and Duro were two young men from a small village. The excitement of their departure was palpable, but so was the anxiety that comes with venturing into the unknown. Their families had raised them with love and hard work, but the city of Lagos was a place of opportunities, challenges, and dangers that neither had fully grasped. Their uncle, a man of influence in the city, had promised to help them settle down, find work, and carve out a life. As the bus pulled away from the village, Chuka and Duro waved goodbye, filled with hope but uncertain about what awaited them. When they arrived in Lagos, the city overwhelmed them with its noise, its energy, and its chaos. They stepped off the bus, excited but lost in the crowd. It was their first time in such a large, bustling place. They immediately tried calling their uncle to find their way to his shop, but his phone rang and rang with no answer. Hours passed, and the sun began to set. The weight of their situation set in as they realized they had nowhere to go. They found a quiet spot under a bridge, their backpacks on the ground beside them. There, in the cold of the night, they sat together, contemplating their fate. Duro was the first to speak. His voice was bitter, filled with frustration. "I knew it, Chuka. I knew your uncle was just stringing us along. You were too naive to believe him. Now look at us, stranded in a strange city." Chuka and Duro were two young men from a small village. The excitement of their departure was palpable, but so was the anxiety that comes with venturing into the unknown. Their families had raised them with love and hard work, but the city of Lagos was a place of opportunities, challenges, and dangers that neither had fully grasped. Their uncle, a man of influence in the city, had promised to help them settle down, find work, and carve out a life. As the bus pulled away from the village, Chuka and Duro waved goodbye, filled with hope but uncertain about what awaited them. When they arrived in Lagos, the city overwhelmed them with its noise, its energy, and its chaos. They stepped off the bus, excited but lost in the crowd. It was their first time in such a large, bustling place. They immediately tried calling their uncle to find their way to his shop, but his phone rang and rang with no answer. Hours passed, and the sun began to set. The weight of their situation set in as they realized they had nowhere to go. They found a quiet spot under a bridge, their backpacks on the ground beside them. There, in the cold of the night, they sat together, contemplating their fate. Duro was the first to speak. His voice was bitter, filled with frustration. "I knew it, Chuka. I knew your uncle was just stringing us along. You were too naive to believe him. Now look at us, stranded in a strange city." Chuka, ever the optimist, tried to reassure him. "We're just getting started, Duro. Don't give up now. We'll make it through. We just have to trust the journey." The night passed slowly. Duro tried his uncle's number once more. This time, to his relief, the phone picked up. "Chuka. Duro. I'm so sorry." Their uncle's voice came through the line, sounding surprised but apologetic. "I got caught up in an emergency, and I had to turn my phone off for a meeting. I should have told you where to meet me. You're new to the city, so let me guide you. Head to Alaba, and I'll meet you there." Chuka's face lit up. He picked up, "Duro. We're not stranded anymore." They quickly gathered their things and made their way to Alaba. The city felt slightly less overwhelming now that they had a direction, and they could see the promise of their uncle's guidance. When they arrived, Uncle Uche was waiting for them. He them with a warm smile and an apology for the misunderstanding. "I was caught up in something important, but don't worry, boys," he said. "I've got your backs. Welcome to my shop. You'll be working here, learning the business." For the next 3 years, Chuka and Duro worked in their uncle's electronics shop in Alaba. They learned everything: how to manage customers, handle products, and make sales. The long hours were exhausting, but they grew stronger, both in their work ethic and their bond. The hardships they faced only brought them closer together. They ate together, slept in the same room, and worked side by side, never doubting that their dreams of success were within reach. During their time working as apprentices, Chuka and Duro met Precious, a young lady who often came into the shop. Her smile was warm, and her laughter brightened up the room. Every time she came in, Chuka and Duro found themselves drawn to her, though neither one of them was willing to act on it. They didn't want their friendship tested by love. Still, both Chuka and Duro were quietly falling for her in their own ways. One evening, after work, Precious stayed behind to help them clean up the shop. She laughed, chatting with them, and it felt like the bond between the three of them was growing stronger. As they walked, Chuka caught himself looking at Precious more than he meant to. Duro, too, seemed eager to impress her. But despite the unspoken tension, they kept their feelings to themselves, valuing their friendship above all. The day eventually came when their apprenticeship was over. Uncle Uche, proud of their hard work and dedication, called them into his office. "You boys have worked hard," he said with a smile. "You've learned everything I can teach you. It's time for you to move on. I'm settling you with enough to start your own businesses. You've earned it." With that, Chuka and Duro were officially freed from their apprenticeship. Their uncle provided them with the funds to start their own shops and businesses. This was the moment they had been waiting for, their chance to become independent and truly take control of their futures. But soon after starting their businesses, things didn't go as planned. Duro's business began to thrive. He was making deals, drawing in customers, and expanding. On the other hand, Chuka's business wasn't doing so well. Despite all his efforts, the numbers weren't adding up. Chuka began to feel the weight of his failure, while Duro's success seemed to be growing day by day. One evening, Chuka found himself staring at his empty shop, wondering what had gone wrong. He watched Duro's business from the corner of his eye, seeing him succeed effortlessly. The weight of his struggles began to wear on him, and he couldn't understand why his own business wasn't taking off. Curiosity gnawed at him. One day, he finally gathered the courage to go to Duro and ask for help. "Duro," he said, his voice laced with uncertainty, "I don't know what's happening with my business. You're doing well, and I'm stuck. I need help, man. Can you help me figure this out?" Without hesitation, Duro smiled. "Of course, Chuka. We're in this together. You helped me when I needed it. I'll help you." Chuka felt a sense of relief wash over him as Duro handed him some money to help with his business. But Chuka's doubts were still there. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to Duro's success. That's when Duro mentioned a man named Mr. Ken, a businessman who had been helping him out. "Mr. Ken has connections," Duro explained. "He's the reason I've been able to make things work so well. You should meet him. He could help you too." Curious and desperate for a breakthrough, Chuka agreed. He didn't know what Duro's connection to Mr. Ken was, but the idea of making it big quickly was tempting. The next day, Duro introduced Chuka to Mr. Ken. Mr. Ken was a shady businessman with a reputation for getting things done quickly, though not always through legal means. He handed Chuka a thick stack of cash, his smile full of confidence. "I can help you, Chuka," Mr. Ken said. "All you need to do is a small favor for me, and your business will take off." Chuka hesitated, but Duro seemed eager, his face lit up with the promise of quick success. Without much thought, Chuka accepted the money. The favor was simple: deliver a package for Mr. Ken. It seemed harmless enough, and Chuka was willing to do whatever it took to get his business going. The moment Chuka took the briefcase from Mr. Ken, he felt a weight settle on his shoulders. He questioned his decision but dismissed the thoughts. As he walked through the streets of Lagos to make the delivery, his doubts grew. Was this the right way to achieve success? But when Chuka was stopped by the police and the briefcase was opened to reveal large sums of illegal money, everything came crashing down. He tried to explain, but no one believed him. His phone calls to Duro went unanswered. Chuka was arrested and taken to jail. The investigation revealed that the money was part of a money laundering scheme. Chuka had no idea how he had gotten involved in it, but the truth came out: Duro had been secretly involved in the operation and had framed Chuka to cover his tracks. Duro's betrayal crushed Chuka, but his innocence was eventually proven, and he was released from jail. Chuka's world had shattered, but he didn't let the betrayal break him. Instead, he reflected on everything he had learned during his journey. He realized that success wasn't about shortcuts, it was about hard work, perseverance, and loyalty. He vowed to rebuild and never again take the easy path. Years later, Chuka met Precious again. Their love rekindled, and together they grew their business. Chuka had learned that success was about sticking to his values, even when faced with temptations. As Chuka stood proudly in front of his thriving shop, he knew that he had made it through, despite everything. Duro, on the other hand, was nowhere to be found, having paid the price for his choices. But Chuka didn't look back. With Precious by his side, he was ready to take on whatever the future held.